Yeah, perfect. I see it now. I see the Science Funding Initiative website.
Okay, good. So this is what I've done so far. The
Okay.
color I'm not really keeping with. It's just so that I can distinguish um, between the two.
Okay.
So let's see what I did. I went into page erase. Let me just show you what I did so that I did the right thing, okay?
Sure. Sure.
And unfortunately, it's still so far.
Yeah. That's okay.
So I created DRC.
Okay. Perfect.
I chose the Drupal sub-theme this time rather than using the same theme,
Oh.
right?
Okay. That works. Yeah. So
So
you.
here's a question. If I wanted to use the same theme and not the sub-theme,
Yep.
whatever I changed to the RDRC, would that affect the SOSF?
So yeah. So certain things are set in the theme, and certain things are kind of set in the Drupal configuration. So you could use the exact same theme, and what you'd be getting is the same fonts and the same colors and like all the CSS and all that stuff. And if you want those two sites to look exactly the same but have different navigation and different pages, then I might recommend choosing the exact same theme. Now,
Okay, I'm
now
good with that.
okay, if you think that they might diverge at some point, though, like say one site is supposed to be blue and the other one's supposed to be red, then I would recommend possibly doing two themes instead of trying to do that with one theme.
Okay. So I guess I'll know more about that Thursday.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah,
so
so you can leave it at that for now if you want, but feel free to you could always set it to the standard theme if you want to do that as well. Either way should work.
but if I make any changes to like say say they want to have like a sidebar put in,
Mm-hmm. So you
would
could
that
do
affect of the SOSF
you could do
site?
you could do it so it only affects one of the sites because we would probably be doing the sidebar with something like blocks like that we had looked at before, and then so blocks allow us to set the visibility settings based on a number of parameters. We could do it by content type, which we could actually define two different content types for each site. So like SOSF will have one content type, and then RDRC will have a different content type. So we could do that, or we could hide and show blocks based on paths. So we could say, hey, if it's in /RDRC, then please show this sidebar. If it's not in that path, then don't show the sidebar. So I think things like that, like adding content to certain regions, would be something that is considered like Drupal site configuration and not necessarily 100% part of the theme, if that makes sense.
Okay, I understand. So here's one question
Sure.
too. If I go to configuration here,
Mm-hmm.
notice up here on the SOS site it says MBR SOSF.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't want that to say the same thing for the RDRC site.
Sure.
But if I go in and say basic site settings here,
Mm-hmm.
that's where
Gotcha. Okay. This is. I think we had talked about this over email with Alex one time. There's a module called meta tag, and that will allow you to set a lot of different things. Like so, that's the title attribute on the page. And there's a page title and then there's a site title, and you should be able to override some of those settings with the meta tag module. We might want to do something like make the site name just NBER, and then we could make our page titles like use the SOSF or the RC. Does that make sense?
yep, and yep. Okay,
So
so that will I'll have to download the metadata.
yeah, I would download meta tag. That's a good start because that'll allow you to on a node by node basis override some of those metadata information. But you also might want to set your site name here to just be NBER, since that's kind of the broad overarching um, site name. Yeah.
Another thing. I'm gonna go back to this.
Yeah, there's a couple things
So
that
I can have a home tab link there too on the menu.
yeah, you can do that. So one thing I'd say is, can you go back to like the home page you were just on a second ago? So this says Node 18. If you edit this page, does it have a URL alias? Can you press edit on like underneath the word home?
There.
Down a little bit, like on the right, like do you see where it says home next to the search bar? Yeah, then you see edit below that. If you click edit, and this will allow you to set the URL alias. So if you go on the right hand side, you see where URL path settings. Okay, so it is getting the alias. For some reason, it's not forcing us
I
to.
put it.
Yep. Okay, so that's correct. That's what we want. So that looks great. Okay, so sorry. And then if you go back to view, yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the alias is there. All right, that looks great. Sorry, it was showing the node before, but that looks great. Okay, so you're doing that correctly. That looks good. And then you want to make sure that
Yeah. How do I put the home link here?
okay.
Can I
Yeah.
just go into here and do it?
Yeah, yep, you can edit that menu. And then just add link. And then yeah, call it home. And then below there, yeah, just make sure you're doing the so it's actually not going to be the front page of the website because we're kind of yeah, the front page is actually a different page. So you want it to be /Drupal / yeah. Then /RDRC /
Oh
home.
yeah.
And then if you save
Upper lowercase does not matter in Drupal.
I think these URLs will work either way. So
You know how like Unix uppercase and lowercase is very sensitive.
yeah, it's very specific. I believe,
Yeah.
and we'll find out in a second. I believe it'll work either way with these URL aliases here.
Flag for whether the link should be enabled and menus are hidden. Enabled. Okay.
Yep. And then you might have to go back in and reorder it if you want the. Okay, that looks good. And then if you click home, see if that's working. Oop.
Okay, so when I click home, how come it went here?
Okay, so we have to remove that first Drupal. Looks like we're getting two of those because I think one of those might be being set at like a different level. So let's actually go back in and edit that link one more time. We'll just remove that first / Drupal. So if you go back,
Sorry.
it's okay. And then if you like hover over the menu, get the little pencil icon, yeah, and then edit menu. And then we'll edit that link that we just edited. Yeah, click edit there. And then just, yeah, delete everything. Yeah, perfect. Yep,
Yes?
yep. And then save that. And we'll give that a shot, see if that works a little better. Now if you click home. Okay. All right, so that seems to be working now.
Okay. So Jim, when we changed in the configuration and we changed it to just be NVR, why does it still say SOS up here?
So,
And why is the footer up here?
so that's a good question. So we could look in some of the block settings for that stuff. So what we're basically going to have to do is we're going to have to add a new block with the new title, and then we're going to have to hide the SOSF on RDRC pages, and we're going to have to show the RDRC logo on those pages. So yeah, let's go to the block layout real quick. And we're actually using two different themes. So yeah, let's look at the new theme here. So we could basically do these in the same theme if we want to. But so the first thing, yep.
Put a menu header.
Yeah. So
Why wouldn't it here?
yeah, it's just a weird default placement. It made yeah. I was trying to figure out where it wanted to be, and it looks like it made a mistake. I mean, you could completely disable that block if you want to, or completely remove it, unless we're using the footer menu for something. But
Well, I think on the other one, we have this here.
yeah. So we could add some.
Probably like that, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I would look at the I would look at the block settings for the other theme that you have enabled, and then I would just try to replicate those over here. So like, take a look and see if they have like things enabled certain places. Then I would just kind of replicate it on this side of things as well. But you can save that if you want to get rid of, like, it looks like the changes haven't, saved yet. So if you save that, and then that contact link will now be pushed down in the footer.
We look at it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, should have been.
Yeah, I tried to do that before. Oh,
there we go. Okay, so yeah, now it's like down there. Okay, great.
Oh, and look at that. NVR is there now.
Interesting. Yeah.
It got, that's how
Oh, that's because, okay, so what's happening with that block is we're using the default Drupal site branding block here on this theme, and we just changed, remember we went to the configuration, site information, we changed it from MBR SOSF to just NBER, so that's what happened there.
Okay, so now can we change this name?
Yeah, so we probably want to change it completely. So the thing we probably want to do is, let's go back into our block settings real quick. And let's quickly take a look at our block layout, and let's stay on this theme for a second. So if you look at the logo, yeah. So do you see where it says logo home? Let's edit that block real quick. Let's just because we're basically going to copy this. So, oh, sorry, you actually have to go to your custom block library, I believe. Yeah. And then okay, let's edit logo home. And then if you click on source here. Oh, actually, this is okay. So this is the, yeah. We're gonna want this anyway. So let's actually copy this. Do you know what? I think we might even be able to reuse this block, but hold on. That's okay that you copied that anyways. And then let's go back a couple panes here.
Go back.
Yeah, and then go back again. And actually, so. I think what we really want is that Science of Science funding initiative block, which is also, I think it's a custom block. Yeah, sorry. Because we're going to have to recreate one of these. Okay, title header for SOSF. Yeah, let's edit that one. Yep, and then source on this. Oh, is there nothing in here? Title. Interesting. Okay. I can't remember which. Let's go back to, like, can you open a new tab with the? Actually, can you go to the tab right to the right of where you are? Yeah, click on that, and then scroll all the way to the top here, and then the Science of. Okay, can you edit that Science of Science funding initiative text there in the upper left? Is there a? Yeah, I'm not sure if it's getting that block, but try that. See if that's getting the one we want.
Block or?
Edit. Okay, so this is just, yeah, I guess it is just, it's just a title, right? Does that actually link anywhere?
No.
Okay, I see what's happening. Okay, so we just need a...
It says title header for SOSF.
Yeah, so all we need to do is make a basic title for it. Okay, so let's try that. So we want to just replicate that over on our new theme, right? So,
Okay.
so actually add a new custom block. And you can call it a basic block would be fine. And then, yeah, you can basically add the title for the RDRC here if you wanted to. So, yeah. Okay, great. Then save that. And then if we go back to our block layout on that left tab, yep. And then we go to our sub theme. Yeah, exactly. And then in our header there, yeah, we place a new block, and we'll place the block that we just made. Perfect. Click place block there. And then, yeah, exactly.
What, say anything here?
Okay, so you do have an RDRC content type. Okay, that's great. Yeah, you could select that. That's one way to do it. That's perfect. And since we're using a separate theme for this, you don't need to mess with the visibility settings, because the only subsite that's using this theme is this RDRC site. So you don't technically have to do that, but that's fine to do. If we were sharing one theme between SOSF and RDRC, then you would start the way you would choose to have the different logos and different menus and everything appear on one site versus the other is you would change those visibility settings. So you would either do it by content type like you did, or you would do it by path by saying only show on these pages. But since these are two separate themes entirely, you don't really even need to mess with those settings if that makes sense.
Okay, yep. So I'll say this again?
Yeah, save that. And then, yeah, let's go. We can take a look at what's starting to happen with our homepage. You can leave. We're going to do some more settings here. So if you want, just control click on back to site in the main menu. Yeah, exactly. And then we'll take a look and see what's happening with our updates. So click that tab to the right. Yeah. Okay. So we're getting the title there. That's good. That's what we want, right? So let's go back into our block. Yeah, let's go back to the tab to the left here where we just were, and then let's disable the site branding there. So next to the configure, if you click the little down arrow, you can just disable that. And if we go back to and refresh that tab we were just on, yeah, that should have that taken away. Okay, so yeah, so now we're getting closer there. So let's go. Another thing we can do is we can actually go and place that, if we want that NBER home page icon link thing that appears on the right, yeah, we can place that here. One thing we're going to have to do, though, is it's not going to be, you know how we wrote that CSS to float it over to the right?
Yep.
So we're going to have to do that again because, you know, that was specific to that base parent theme, and we didn't write it for the sub theme. So we're going to probably have to write that again in our sub theme CSS.
Okay, that's a question I was going to ask you too. Where do we find that CSS for the sub theme? Like, how does where are the CSS for each of the?
Yeah.
Can you take a look at that?
Yeah, we can take a look at that. It should be pretty similar. So one of the so had we decided to share the themes, like, you know, when we're looking at the theme switcher, we had an ability to choose the same theme. If we had shared them, it would save us a little bit of time on some of this, right? Because that logo would already be placed over to the right. So, like, depending on how close you want these sites to be mirrored of each other is basically how I would determine if I should be having separate themes or the same theme. You know, this one, obviously we have like different gray color scheme, so that's pretty different. We have the search bar on the left hand side. I don't know if you want that there or not.
Oh, no, I haven't taken it out yet. I couldn't find
the little icon thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I got rid of the other. Yeah, I didn't know what to get rid of here.
Yeah, so
breadcrumbs can say.
You want the breadcrumbs to stay? Okay.
Right?
So go back to, if you click the tab, you can just say go back on this page if you want to go back to the front. Yeah, over here, and then I'd scroll down, and yeah, the breadcrumbs, you can disable that.
Okay.
And then scroll down, and there also be, yes, exactly, in the left sidebar, I would disable that search.
Where's that?
Yeah, right there. Disable, remove, whatever you want. You can remove it, you can disable it. Either way is fine.
I should have actually disabled rather than remove the other ones.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh well. You can't get them back once you remove them, right?
You can get them back. Yep. Because those are Drupal default blocks, so you can get those back.
I can save this.
Yep. And then if you reload your page, that tab you have to the left, you have to actually hit the go back on this page. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And then reload that. Okay. So yeah, so those are gone now, which is good.
So maybe we can put that logo in?
Yeah, so let's go look at that. So click back over to the tab to the left there with the block layout. And in the header, place a new block. So yeah, exactly. And you can look up the logo. Yeah, exactly. Logo home. Exactly. Place that. Yep. And you can save that. Yep, you could do it. You could do that if you wanted to. Since this theme is only being used for this subsite right now, you don't have to specify. That's an additional level of visibility settings that you can optionally do, but it's not going to actually change the functionality here because only one site is using this theme. Now, in the future, if you chose to make another subsite with this exact same theme, that's when you really have to start worrying about these visibility settings.
Mm-hmm. It might sound like a dumb question, but on the existing site, the SOSS,
yeah,
each of the menu tabs went to a page. This site will, like for projects, for instance, projects will go to a page, but then from that page, it's going to go to several other pages.
Okay.
And we haven't done that yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could look at that. So there's a couple different ways we could do that. We could have navigation specific to those pages, or we could have sub menus, or we could even have just like different kind of like in-page navigation things on that page. So there's a lot of different ways we could approach that. Yep, if you refresh that, so we should. Great, so we're seeing the new logo home. So actually, let's edit that. If you hover over kind of and you set pencil, yeah, exactly. Then click edit. We can at least hide the label there. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean. I meant to say configuration settings. So actually, go back, hover over again one more time, and then click configure block. And if you just uncheck display title, perfect. Save that. And then you'll notice that we're kind of getting the same thing. And then one last thing I think we did last time. So if you go back to the block layout tab, the one to the left of where you are in your browser. Yeah, click that, and then move logo home above the title there, just like So if you grab the little and pull it up, perfect. And then if you go all the way down to the bottom and save the page, and then if you refresh that, that's going to put us in position to basically float that logo over to the right hand side.
Right.
Perfect.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to try to find that.
Yeah, so let's look. Yeah, let's look at we can look at the CSS and together. So
where would it be?
Is go into the main Drupal site for this.
Oh.
Okay, yep, and then in themes. Did you do you know what the sub theme is called? You go to if you go to the appearance settings. And then just scroll down a little. Oh, can you go?
It's called.
Okay, Drupal 8. Can you go back one page? Then just scroll down a little bit. Okay, so we have sub theme. Okay. Can you go back to your file browser there? Yeah.
Or maybe here? Here.
Oh, okay. Well, so I don't think that's so. Basically, usually when you create a sub theme, it gets its own. So a lot of these
Folder?
themes will ship with a sub theme like this that you can kind of grab and place somewhere. Um, yeah, well, maybe that's interesting to me. Did you create that folder
No.
initially? Like how did you create the sub theme when you created it?
How did I create what?
How did you create the sub theme when you created this? Because you must have created the sub theme manually at some point, no?
I just went to, I'll show you. I went to, let's see, I went to,
So usually when people create like when you first downloaded this
oh, I
theme.
put the theme,
Mm-hmm.
but the last time, and then I went to his theme, and then I just selected it here.
And so, when you first downloaded the Drupal 8 W3 CSS theme, did it already come automatically with the Drupal 8 W3 CSS sub theme, or did you have to create that manually somehow?
I believe it came with it.
Oh, it came with it. Okay.
No, I didn't download. I don't think I did.
Uh huh.
Take a look. Did you take a look?
Yeah. So usually, well, actually, yeah. Let's take a look. I can download it myself. Let's see. Drupal W3 CSS theme. I'm just gonna take a look at mine. I'm just gonna download this real quick. Let me grab this. I'm gonna open this up. Yeah, so it comes with okay. So I want. So it comes with this like fully. I'm looking at it now, so I see the same thing you have. So that's so interesting. So normally a lot of these different themes, like you have to manually create this sub theme. Since this ships with one, it looks like it's just possibly picking up on it here automatically. That's so interesting. We could do a test. We could like change some of this in that sub theme and see if those changes come through. Normally, you would basically the way that I've always seen sub themes be made is you would copy this sub theme folder and you would put it at the level of your other themes. So like you'd copy that and you'd put it up a level and you would name it whatever you want to name it. But yeah, exactly. And then you would name it like NBER custom theme or something like that. And then you would go through and you'd change all the files to use that new name. But yeah. So that's interesting. Okay, so I mean, so we can change. I think we're kind of we're moving away a little bit from kind of like Drupal standard conventions, but just for the sake of time to try to get some of this stuff done, let's go with it for now. But typically, I would recommend like a and we could go into this in more detail at some point on a separate call, but like a proper sub theming process because we're kind of in danger of if we ever do any updates or anything like that to this theme of losing some of these changes. And also if other Drupal developers were to take a look at this site, it might be a little confusing to have these themes nested like they are right now, and it's not really the most intuitive thing. So I think it's okay for now just to kind of make progress on this, but at some point we might want to go over like setting this up properly. So let's go with it for now. So like let's click into the Drupal 8 W3 CSS sub theme folder that you have there. Yeah, and then let's we can look at the CSS folder inside here, and then we can edit the styles.css. Yeah, and then let's just try. Let's do a test in here. Let's
But I did. Sorry, I don't have it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, open in whatever text editor that you're. And then let's just scroll to the bottom here and let's do a quick test. So a test that I like to do sometimes is just I write body, and then I create my curly bracket. I open my curly bracket, and then I go, next line, and I say background hyphen color. Then put a colon. And then I say red, and then I do a space, and I put an exclamation point, and then the word important, kind of like the examples above that you see. Yeah. And then a semicolon. Yep, and then I go to the next line, I just close that bracket, and then I save that. So we don't want this change, but this is basically it's going to like if it turns the background red on our site, then we know it's at least working, right? So that's just kind of like I usually do like a test like that just to make sure that we're editing the right file in the right place. So if we go back to the site and we clear the caches there. So then under performance, yeah, perfect. Now, yeah, might make sense to leave that window open because we'll probably be clearing caches a couple more times, but if you want to go back, yeah, click to the other tab. And you might need to wait a second for it to finish, but you could reload this page afterwards and we'll see if we get that red background coming through. Okay, good. So at least we know the changes are affecting this theme. One last test. Let's go to the SOSF site and make sure that it's not changing anything in there. Yeah, so reload that page. Okay, perfect. So we've identified where we're setting at least the styles for our theme, right? So we can go into that file again and we can actually change it to do what we want it to do. So one thing I might do, well, first of all, I would get rid of what we just, I just delete that. We don't really need that. And then I would actually go back and I would use the example that we had used before. So like if you go into if you go up a directory, so right now if you go up a couple directories actually, so you're in like the you're in the like the CSS folder. Yeah, go up one, go up another one, go up, oh sorry, and then go back into that folder that you were just in. Yep, click into there, and then go into CSS here, and then in the custom folder, I believe. I can't remember which. Component CSS, I think.
Oh, it makes me crazy.
Yeah. So we'll just grab basically the CSS that we used to like position the logo last time. We'll just copy that over into the new theme. So it's probably all the way at the bottom there, yeah. So yeah, we had block logo home, field body, float right. Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna want to grab.
Grab all of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we basically want to recreate it, so yeah, grabbing all of it. And again, this is kind of where, and then we'll go back into the folder that we were in. But so go up a directory, yeah.
I think I still have it open though. I can't see it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, and then yep, exactly. That's CSS, and style. And so yeah, so again, so this is like, had we used the same theme, we would be saving a little bit of time here, so we wouldn't be duplicating this code, which would be nice. And I think just want to make sure here. So I think we have an extra curly bracket there. So above logo home, I think we copied an extra bracket. So we just delete that. Yeah. Perfect. You can save that. And then clear our caches. And then once that's done, we'll reload that page.
I see what you meant though before, because when I'm looking in here, I was attempting to create a subtheme.
Yeah.
I was experimenting before with the SOSF site.
Uh-huh.
I did start to do it, but then I think that's why we...
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah. So basically,
we could have the RC site.
Exactly.
Here's
Yeah.
my question: going forward again, if they're going to want another sub-site, and I've already made all these changes to this sub-theme, will I be able to use it again for another site?
Sure. Yeah. You could. So you could use these. You could use a single theme across several different subsites if you wanted to.
I mean, by even changing the colors and everything.
So that's where it gets a little difficult. If the next subsite needs to be red, for instance, or purple, you could. There are ways to have those colors be separate for each one, but the easiest way is probably to make a new sub theme for it and have the theme live separately. Another way you could do it, though, if you wanted to keep the same theme, is you could. So there are certain classes that are added for different types of content, and so since we're using like RBRC content here, you could find that class and you would be able to basically set that in the same theme to have different colors. So there are ways to do it. Do you want to just quickly take a look at the at the page we just loaded there?
Yeah, I didn't. The only thing that it took away was the red.
Yeah, so let's take a look back there. Can you right click on the NBER logo at the top there, and then
Here?
do like a right click on it. Yeah, and then inspect that. Inspect the element there. So okay, so we want to make sure we have our classes right. So this might be it probably has a different block name since we've already placed this. So yeah, see how the ID up there says. If you look on the HTML pane there, in the section above where it's highlighted a couple lines up, it says section, and then there's a ID block logo home -2. So up a little bit more, right there. Click that.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just click it. Okay. Do you see where it says ID block logo home 2 in that highlighted blue section? Yeah, exactly. So since we had already placed this block one time, it's iterating on it. So we had already placed block logo home on the SOSF site. Now we're placed it again. So now it's getting an ID block logo home 2. And now if you look back at the CSS we just wrote for this, we probably don't have the 2 there. Okay, so do you see where it says block logo home? We need that to -2. And then if you save that, that should get us there. We'll probably have to clear the caches one more time and then.
Have to go soon.
I do, yeah. I actually have to hop off a couple minutes early today, just to run to another meeting. But hopefully we get this working, and then that may be a good stopping point, and then we can connect next week if there's more questions. Does that seem okay?
there will be. I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I'm in the same boat, constantly learning new things and figure out new things with Drupal all the time. So I get it.
Did you record this?
I did. Yeah, I'm recording it right now. I'll post it. Actually, I think I owe you a recording from the last time. I wanted to.
Oh, I was going to mention that.
Yeah, sorry.
I really like them.
Yeah,
I was able to do what I did today based on the first one.
Great. Yeah, I mean, you've made a lot of progress on this site before even having to have this call. So that's great. I'm glad the videos are helpful. I try to go in. I actually edit them before I post them because I want to make sure if we talk about anything like passwords or sensitive things, I try to edit those out. And I also try to edit out some of the the slow loading times and things like that, just to make it a little quicker when you review it. So I'll probably do that again. I just haven't had a chance to do it for the last one yet, but I'll do both of these.
It's fine. I don't know what's going on here, but
Yeah, I think it's just because the inspector window was open. It's just like loading funny. Yeah. Okay. So at least it's it's starting to work, and it seems like we're getting closer there.
yeah.
And I think the fonts look like they're coming through, so that's good.
Awesome. So, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna dig into it myself. I'll try to figure it out how. Like I said, we'll have a papers and we have a project.
Mm-hmm.
But once we get on that landing page, how from that page we get to another thing. We haven't done that yet.
Yeah, yeah. So feel free to take a look, and then as you have questions or you've looked at it a little more, like we can connect next week and look at that together. One last thing I want to just mention. So actually, can you click on the papers link real quick? I just want to see what happens when we do that. Okay, so it's just going home right now. That's okay. So one thing I would actually do is under configuration, and then if you look at, I think we had installed a module called Path Auto in the past, so that will give us automatic URL aliases. What's that?
I'm sorry, it's so slow.
Oh, that's okay. And so if you go under, I believe it is URL. Yeah, if you do like a search for URL. Okay. Oh yeah, URL aliases. Click on that. And then the tab that says patterns there. So first of all, these are all the aliases in the site if you're ever interested. So you can see like each one of these nodes has an ID, right? And then we have an alias to like the user-friendly way of writing it. But okay, you've already done this. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, it was very helpful.
Good. That's great. So yeah, so basically now whenever you create one of these RDRC pages, it's going to automatically try to give you that path, which is automatically going to try to feed into your theme. So that should help out a little bit.
Okay, so how come on the home when we did hit the papers, it brings us back to the home?
So what I think is happening is I think right now that papers link is just being linked to home. So let's take a look at the menu real quick. So if you go back, yeah, I think that's what's happening. So if you click to the right of, if you hover over there and click edit menu, and then if you edit the link where it says papers. Yeah, that's unfortunate. At some point, if we keep going down this road of like doing a lot of Drupal development, which hopefully we are going down, then we could look at ways to set up local environments for you. So like when I edit my sites, I basically do it only on my local computer, and it's not on a server at all at the time when I'm editing it, and it makes my experience a lot quicker. And then when I'm ready, then I push it up to a remote server somewhere. But it's a little bit of it's a little extra setup to do that. But at some point, we want to look at it just to save you a lot of time. So yeah, so what's happening here is it's looking to link to the front page. And the front page of our site is just the /Drupal thing. So basically what you do is, if you have, I don't know if this page is already created yet. Have you created the papers page?
No.
Okay. So once it's created, I would come back in here and I would edit the link, and I would just say, /RDRC /papers, and that should get you.
I just go into content.
Yeah, let's do it real quick. So The two things, there is a little bit of a disconnect. So you have to link up your menu with the content you create. So those processes happen independently of each other. So that is a little bit of a tricky spot at first. So let's just look at that real quick, and then I do have to hop off. But so if you click Add Content at the top there, that blue button, yep. And then if you create RDRC, so we want to create RDRC content, that's going to give us our path alias and everything automatically, which is nice. And then title it Papers. And then you can put some placeholder text there for now. Yep. And then if you save that, so you notice that in the URL bar up there, it's giving you that nice alias, the RDRC Papers, which is great. That's your path auto is doing that for you automatically. By having that path, we're getting the theme switcher that's giving us this gray sub theme, right? Because we have the RDRC in our path, and that's the URL pattern that it's looking for. So we're getting our theme, we have the correct path, and now we have to link up this menu to this page. Exactly. So if you edit the menu, and then you edit the Papers link, and then just change where it says front to be /RDRC /Papers. Perfect. And then save that. Yeah, and then that should be linked up. So you can now click between Home and Papers, and you should see it flip between those two, and they should stay on the theme. So Home takes you there, and Papers should take you there. And then you do the same thing for projects or any other links that you would add there.
Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you. So yeah.
Next meeting. You've been very helpful as usual. I really appreciate it.
Great. No, always my pleasure, Debbie. So if you want to take a look at some of the other stuff and like continuing on working on this site over the next few days, and then we can connect next week and answer any questions you have and talk about like secondary navigation and things like that, then that sounds like a good plan to me.
Thank you so much.
Great. Awesome.
Have a
Yeah, you too. All right, take care.